What's up guys, Rosario here. There's been a lot of talk in the news lately about Dogecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, NFTs, and cryptocurrencies in general. I'm really interested in these topics, and I think I have some insights to provide as an engineer and as an investor. Today I want to talk about some of the major benefits of Bitcoin and some of its major drawbacks. I've tried to take an honest and holistic approach to the analysis, but if I've left anything out, please let me know. Hopefully this will be useful to people who are new to crypto and even to those of you who are very knowledgeable about crypto. Take a look down in the description below to skip to the parts that seem most interesting to you. Much of what I'll be talking about applies to all cryptocurrencies, but this video is specific to Bitcoin. Check out my channel for videos specific to Doge, Ethereum, and other cryptos. Let's start by getting a line on a few key ideas. First, what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is the first cryptocurrency. In the simplest terms, Bitcoin is a decentralized way to make transactions. It is the first and most popular way that we have so far to conduct transactions digitally and theoretically at least, without an intermediary. A transaction means to buy or sell something. Normally, when we buy or sell things digitally, a third party or intermediary, usually a bank, validates each transaction and makes sure that neither party are trying to scam anyone. For example, by sending the same money to two different people at the same time. The decentralized part of Bitcoin means that it is not necessary to trust one company or one individual to keep an accurate log of your transaction or to verify it, because everyone has a log of every single transaction. This is a bit oversimplified, but it's essentially how it works. A copy of all the transactions that have ever happened is stored on every Bitcoin user's hardware. This log of transactions is called the blockchain. Basically, Bitcoin is a tool that people can use to store value and buy and sell things without having to rely on a bank as a middleman. So is Bitcoin a good alternative to use as money to complete transactions? Is Bitcoin a good long-term investment? Well, as with most things in life, it depends on your perspective. I want to start with what's good about Bitcoin. There's 5 key areas that I want to cover. First, it's limited in supply. Second, it's easily divisible. Third, it's secure. Fourth, it's popular. And fifth, it holds or grows in value over time. So Bitcoin is limited in its supply. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin in existence. Because of the way Bitcoin is designed, it is deflationary. That means that no more than 21 million Bitcoin can ever be made or mined. So if people want it, the price should keep going up because they won't be able to make any more of it. This differentiates Bitcoin from regular money or fiat currency. With fiat money like the US dollar and most other national currencies, governments continually introduce new money into circulation. For example, in the US, 26% of all US dollars that have ever existed were created in 2020. These types of money are called inflationary because the supply is not constrained. What this means in practice is that dollars tend to buy less every year that you hold on to them. Other commodities like gold tend to increase in value over time because there is a limited supply, and creating more gold is difficult because you have to find it or mine it. Bitcoin, similarly, is limited to 21 million Bitcoin, ever. As of May 2021, there are about 18.7 million Bitcoin in existence, and it takes a lot of computing power to generate a new Bitcoin. Because the supply of Bitcoin is constrained, as long as the demand keeps rising, the price for Bitcoin should also rise. Bitcoin is easily divisible. This is another aspect of Bitcoin that can make it a good so-called money. The smallest unit of Bitcoin is called a Satoshi, and it's 1/100 millionth of a Bitcoin. Dollars, like Bitcoin, are divisible into cents. This makes it easy to buy something that costs less than a full unit. Gold was a good currency in the past for this reason as well. Because it is malleable, you can easily break up a block of gold into smaller chunks. Often, prices were measured in the weight of gold or other precious metals. The British pound used to be called the pound sterling and gets its name because it used to be the case that British money was measured in pounds of sterling silver. In 1865, a person could exchange $1 US for 1.5 grams of gold. Bitcoin, like gold and US dollars, is easily divisible. So that means you can easily buy something smaller and also use it to buy larger things. Bitcoin is fairly secure. Bitcoin is called a cryptocurrency for good reason. It's built on cryptography, the science of cracking codes. The foundations of Bitcoin are based on something called a secure hash algorithm. Secure hash functions make it very difficult to reverse engineer a private key from a public key. Taking a step back, for each Bitcoin wallet, there are 2 keys, a private key and a public key. The public key is like your address. It tells people where they can deliver your Bitcoin. The private key is more like the key to your front door. With the private key, you gain access to all of the Bitcoin inside of the wallet. What that means in practice is that it is very difficult to guess someone's private key. In fact, it's so difficult that with today's technology, we can say that it is practically impossible. I say that Bitcoin is fairly secure because breaking into someone's crypto wallet, or their home in this analogy, can happen through more ways than picking the lock on their front door. Unfortunately, most people have to go outside. What this means in our analogy for Bitcoin is that people need to access their Bitcoin. And doing this often leads to them interacting with third parties, like cryptocurrency exchanges. Think Wealthsimple Crypto or BlockFi. More on that later. Essentially, Bitcoin is incredibly secure. It's only when you introduce complexities like exchanges that you run into challenges. It's popular. Despite Elon Musk and Tesla's recent decision to stop accepting Bitcoin for Teslas, Bitcoin's market capitalization, the total value of all Bitcoin in existence, is still over $1 trillion US. The total market capitalization of gold is $10 trillion. That means that Bitcoin is about 1/10 the size of gold in terms of total value in existence. The total market capitalization of silver is around 1.5 trillion. So Bitcoin is almost as big as silver. That's good news for Bitcoin because the fact that it's so popular means that it is in demand. And as long as people want it and the supply remains constrained, the price should keep rising. Bitcoin being popular is also good because it means that it's more likely that someone will let you use it to buy things with. PayPal recently started allowing users to buy and sell goods with Bitcoin, and BlockFi is releasing one of the first credit cards that delivers 1.5% cash back in the form of Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been extremely profitable for many, and it tends to hold or grow in value over time. Back in 2015, I bought one Bitcoin from a Bitcoin ATM in Toronto, Ontario for $300. The price of Bitcoin passed $70,000 Canadian only a few weeks ago. That's a 23,000% return on investment in only 6 years. Some analysts, like Kathy Wood at ARK Invest, predict that the price of Bitcoin may exceed $500,000 in the next few years. Obviously, continued profitability will depend on continued demand. Because the supply of Bitcoin is constrained, as long as the demand keeps increasing, the price of Bitcoin will as well. There are a lot of great things to say about Bitcoin. Full disclosure, about 20% of my portfolio is in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Hashtag Doge to the moon. However, there are some potentially catastrophic downsides as well. I wouldn't feel comfortable releasing a video on any subject if I didn't cover both the positives and the drawbacks. There are a few problems with Bitcoin, some of them major. The first problem that we'll cover is called the scalability problem. Bitcoin transactions are fairly slow to process. The network is capped at about 7 transactions per second. This is known as the scalability problem, and it has a number of solutions that range from bundling transactions to involving intermediaries and even creating offshoot cryptocurrencies with higher transaction capacities, like Bitcoin Cash. This is a problem because if you want something to be useful as money, it needs to be able to be used quickly. Visa, for example, handles about 65,000 transactions per second. For Bitcoin to take its place as money, it needs to be able to change hands much quicker than is possible right now. The trust problem. Most of the time, people are not interacting directly with the blockchain and are going through a trusted intermediary to buy and sell Bitcoin. For example, buying Bitcoin through BlockFi, Coinbase, Voyager, Robinhood, or Wealthsimple Crypto. One of the main benefits of Bitcoin that we discussed previously was its decentralized nature. Unfortunately, without an intermediary, it can be difficult to buy and sell Bitcoin. This opens up some of the same trust and security issues that we have with traditional fiat currencies and digital money. Next is the energy problem. Bitcoin is really all about energy. In order to make sure that transactions are valid, a whole bunch of computing power is required. The creation of Bitcoin, similarly, involves the use of massive amounts of computing power and therefore energy. Recent estimates put annual Bitcoin mining energy consumption around 121 terawatt hours per year. This is about the same amount of energy as the entire country of Argentina uses in a year. In fact, Tesla's recent decision to move away from accepting Bitcoin as payment for Teslas has to do with the energy problem. Elon Musk and Tesla are concerned that Bitcoin mining and transaction verification is too energy intensive, and that some of this energy comes from non-renewable sources of energy that emit large quantities of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, like coal power plants. While it is certainly true that Bitcoin can be generated using coal power, it seems that Tesla has been misinformed about the scale of this problem. Most sources agree that about 75% of the Bitcoin network is powered from renewables, and this number grows every year. However, this doesn't necessarily mean that 75% of Bitcoin is mined with 100% renewables, which is a nuance that Elon Musk seems to have caught on to. Understandably, Tesla does not want to be associated with anything that could tarnish their image as a company that is focused on reducing the impact of climate change. So the high energy consumption of the Bitcoin network and the possibility that coal can be used to mine Bitcoin has made Elon and Tesla wary. The intrinsic value problem. One of the problems with Bitcoin is that it does not have any real-world use outside of buying and selling things. While it is a useful tool for buying and selling other real-world goods and services, Bitcoin has no practical use outside of its ability to make transactions and to store value. Throughout history, metals like gold and silver were used as money, but they were also highly sought after because they could be used for other purposes like making jewelry and later in electronics. The money that we use today, dollars, is similar to Bitcoin in that it does not have any intrinsic value. The property that gives money its value today is simply that other people will accept it. Some economists argue that fiat money gets its value from the fact that you need it to pay your taxes. In most places, you can't pay your taxes with Bitcoin, and there's no physical use for Bitcoin. So if the demand for hodling the cryptocurrency goes away, its value does too. The disappearing problem. If you lose your private key, your Bitcoin is as good as gone, forever. One man lost $250 million in Bitcoin when his girlfriend threw out his old laptop. I myself lost a Bitcoin when the receipt paper that my private key was printed on faded into oblivion. That cryptographic hash function is definitely secure. I tried every method I could to retrieve the missing Bitcoin, including using UV light to try and decipher the faded paper, and making an Excel script to try to guess the missing digits. No luck. That Bitcoin is gone forever. The hedging problem. Assets like gold and silver tend to be less volatile overall than the stock market. That means that they go up and down in value less often. Investors often hold gold and silver as a hedge to stocks because often, when the stock market falls, the price of gold and silver rises. So far, Bitcoin has traded in the same direction as the stock market. So if the stock market is falling, so is Bitcoin. That could make Bitcoin a poor choice as a hedge against market fluctuations. Most assets trade in the same direction, but according to Cathie Wood, Bitcoin is actually among the least correlated assets with the US stock market. This could actually mean that Bitcoin is a great hedge against fluctuations in the stock market. Many Bitcoin proponents have also argued that Bitcoin could be a good hedge against inflation in fiat currencies like the US dollar. This theory has yet to be tested over a long time horizon, so we'll have to wait and see. Of course, in the last decade, the value of one Bitcoin has increased by over 500 million%, while the value of the US dollar has decreased by nearly 20% over the same time period. The volatility problem. The price of Bitcoin is very volatile compared to fiat currency. Although the price trends upward, Bitcoin often drops in value by 10% or more in a single day, and has dropped in value by as much as 65% in 1 month. Imagine buying a jug of milk for $10 today, and then next month, when you went to the store to buy milk, that same jug cost you nearly $30. That is what a 65% drop in the value of the dollar would look like. It would be very difficult to predict how much money you needed to buy groceries and meet your basic needs. Many long-term Bitcoin hodlers predict a major crash in the currency's price before the end of 2021. These crashes and rallies, they argue, have occurred in 4-year cycles since Bitcoin's creation. That's fine if you understand this and are holding for the long term, but if you just put your life savings into Bitcoin and then it drops 90%, you may be deeply soured from using it again. This volatility is expected to reduce as Bitcoin gains popularity, but with Bitcoin's price dropping by 10% on May 13th alone, we haven't yet seen this stabilization effect play out. The copycat problem. Bitcoin is not the only cryptocurrency in existence. Many others exist that are built on similar principles. Ethereum, the second most popular cryptocurrency, for example, has a market capitalization of almost $500 billion, so it is comparable to gold and silver in relative market sizes. Theoretically, a new, better cryptocurrency could emerge at any time. Maybe that new cryptocurrency helps solve one of the problems with other cryptocurrencies mentioned before, like the energy problem or the scalability problem. Or maybe it's a cryptocurrency that was supposed to be a joke. And we all know that fate loves irony, right, Elon? Regulation problems. Governments tend not to like competition for the services that they provide. Since money is a core service that every modern government provides, and central banks are the single issuer of fiat currencies in all modern nations, it makes sense that governments might be worried if another currency starts to become more popular than their own. Many scholars agree that much of the United States' power today comes from the widespread international use of the US dollar. Most countries keep US dollars in reserve, and most foreign currency transactions are settled in US dollars. If Bitcoin starts to make up a significant percentage of these transactions, taking market share away from the US dollar, there may be pushback from central banks and central governments, especially the US government and the Federal Reserve, to limit the spread of Bitcoin and to try to keep their status as the world's reserve currency. We have already seen countries try to ban the use of Bitcoin for making purchases, with Turkey being the most recent example. However, it is difficult to completely ban Bitcoin because of its decentralized and non-physical nature. Despite the drawbacks, many large companies, governments, and individuals are heavily investing into Bitcoin and the technology that it is based on. Because of its limited supply and continued popularity, I see few reasons why Bitcoin will not reach $500,000 or even $1 million in the years to come. Is Bitcoin the future of money? I don't think so. Governments will not want to give up their control of the money supply and are already investigating ways to digitize their currencies. Many countries have banned Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, citing its use in illicit activities like drug smuggling and weapons sales. Governments likely also fear that if Bitcoin takes over as the dominant currency, they will lose the ability to create more money. This would impact their ability to stimulate spending and to reduce the burden of government debt through inflation. I do believe, however, that Bitcoin is a good long-term investment. It can be a store of wealth that individuals and companies use in addition to other assets and investments. Despite my lost investment, Bitcoin is here to stay, and I'll keep adding it to my portfolio until I see some evidence that its place as the dominant cryptocurrency may be changing. Please remember, though, that the price of Bitcoin is volatile. It can fluctuate greatly based on a single tweet from Elon Musk or the actions of governments. And on Dogecoin and other cryptocurrencies like Ethereum and Cardano, we'll talk about those in future episodes, but the same warnings apply. Don't invest anything that you're not willing to lose 90+% of. For now, everyone, that's all. Let me know if you found this video interesting by leaving a comment down below, and please like the video. We'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.